Hi there, this is a series of videos where I go through the creation of a simple file sharing application for Windows. I'm building the application in parts to make it easy to test as I go. So in part 1 I created a UDP service, in part 2 I created the TCP service, and in this part I'm going to create the GUI and rework some of the existing code for the broadcast and for the transfer of the files to better fit an event-driven platform such as WinForms. So without further ado, let's get started. In the previous video I made a little bit of a mistake and I'll go into what happened afterwards, but the way that I rectified it was the get header size. I returned position plus, I made that position +3, so I changed it to position +4. I'm actually going to change that to length, and then I'm going to rename that to length, and so it will return length back there so that it's a little bit more understandable. So that's the first change that I'm going to do in this one. It's already made in the, I already made the +4 change in the video 2 branch in GitHub, but I'm just changing that to length there. And then the other thing I did was inside the program here, I added this little buffer here to wait until the transfer is finished. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to go in here and then begin write. At the very end there it's got complete. I'm going to have an event here. I'm going to say public event handler transfer complete. And then when it gets to here, I'm going to say that dot invoke this event args dot empty. And so what that's going to do is that's going to signal that the file transfer is complete. And then when we do our graphic thing, which we're going to do in this video here, we're going to make that happen. So that's that there. This one, I think I want to add another thing to it here. So I want to actually add a header on here. So this is where we need to come up with our transfer program, and I really don't know what to call it. So I'm going to call it write string ms, and then it's going to be transfer program name. I don't know what it's going to be, and then we're just going to call this 1.0 /r/n. Okay, and then transfer program name. Actually, let me just call that header. For me, version header, or version info. Let's call it version info. Keep it simple, and then we'll have private static read only version info equals network sharing 1.0, sorry. And that's going to be our, need to make that string. And so that's going to be our version number at the very top there. So when we, so that's going to be version info. So now that we have that, we're now going to have to do the exact thing in the receive file to check to see if we've got the right version number. So that's going to be public as well, public. So in here, we're splitting that off there. So instead of the first one being 0 and that one being there, it's going to be the header. Version header equals split 0, 1, 2. And we're not going to do anything about it just now. We're just going to have that there. To do check version number. And then to do process header properly, because right now we're not processing the header properly. All we're doing is we are just taking for granted that the first line is going to be the version header, the second line is going to be the file name, and then the third line is going to be a long integer that represents the length of the actual data. And then we've got client connected here is completed, and then we want to begin read. We want to also have that as when the file has completed. So I also want to have a public event handler transfer completed. So transfer complete, and that happens way down here. So we do transfer complete, invoke this. Actually, should we do begin invoke? Oh, it's object sender. It's not good. No, we don't want begin invoke. Invoke this event args.empty. So this is gonna run across there when it's when that file's completed, and maybe we want to expose the file name as well. We'll see what happens when we get to the UI, because we might have to like do a kind of wrapper around this for the UI so that we kind of know various things about it. So I haven't really planned out the UI for this, but I know that I want a list, and I want to see in the list the other computers in the network that are registered to this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create that now. So that's what I'm going to do in this video. So I'm going to add new project, and then this one is going to be a where are we? WinForm Forms app, .NET framework. So it's got to choose the .NET framework one, and then I'm going to click on next. And then for this one here, we're going to call this. What are we going to call this? We are going to call this the network share GUI, for lack of a better phrasing. So I'm going to create that, and that will create our GUI. Okay. What I also want to do is I want to copy. Where are we? So I've got my git ignore here. I want to copy that to this new folder as well, so that we're not copying across any files that we don't need, or that we're not attaching the files to source control. And then for this one here, I'm just going to call this main form. It's going to ask me a bunch of questions. I'm going to say yep, and that's going to do that. And here I want just a list. Right now all I want is just a list so that we can transfer files easily. So I'm going to go in here and then do list box, and then list box. Okay, and that's about right. Actually, for this one I'm going to change the properties of that to be where's anchor? No, it's not anchor, is it? It's doc. Is doc the thing I'm looking for? Oh, I really don't like it when it's in that thing there. There you go, doc. And I want this to be fill. So I just want it to just fill the entire thing there, so that no matter what I do when I run this, I'll set this up as, oops. Let me set this up for just a sec. So if I go to here, right now receive file is the default application. So I'm going to set this as the startup project. So now when I run it, it's going to be here. So you can see that we have our list, and it resizes depending on what we have in the list. So I need to know what files there are, what computers are out there. So we've got the broadcaster and we've got broadcast payload. So how do I want to do this? I want to broadcast this out and I want to return this on here. I'm not making any sense. What am I talking about? Okay, so if I go to view code, I want to have private broadcaster, and this is in here. And then broadcaster equals new broadcaster, and it's port 54,000. UDP and TCP can exist on the same port, so we don't have a problem with that. We want to do broadcaster dot say hello, and then the port is whatever the port is. So for this one here, we can get rid of this port because the port is going to be whatever you specify. Because remember we did that for our send it program down here, our say hello. So this is now going to be invalid, which is fine because this is just a test program. So I don't really care about that anymore because we're now building the right building the full application here. And I kind of wanted to break it down so that we can do like a minimum viable product for each one of these parts. So that's okay. So we're sending it to we're sending a broadcast message out to there. We're then going to listen to receive the client, but we want to keep listening once we have received a message, because we're constantly going to be getting messages in here. So listen is only going to work once, but we want it to work multiple times. So we want to set this off again. So that's going to be inside here, and instead of client, we're going to specify client. I mean, it doesn't really matter because you're passing it in as the state. So I mean, you know, you can use it whatever, and that will just continually receive those messages there. So when we receive something, we want to confirm it and we want to send the sender back to the client. So on message received goes to message received, and then we get that information there. Okay, so listen, let's send it back to the message received. So if we send a hello, what's a hello? So if we send a hello, we should send back an acknowledgement. So if we do case hell, oh no, we've done that. That's okay. Yeah, we're sending that out there. So the default is hello. So when it's received, we're going to be returning that back up to there. So in our main form, we want to say say hello, but we also want to listen. Listen. So that's going to go ahead and listen in there. But maybe we want to have that as a separate function. So extract method, and we'll call this init broadcaster, like that. And then we'll have broadcaster dot message received plus equals broadcaster received, and then we'll create this method here, generate method, and then we'll say switch e message case hello. We'll send back a hello message. Case broadcast message dot ack add client to list, send acknowledge message, case what's the confirm, I can't remember what confirm was for, but I think it was confirm for the file. I don't think we're probably going to use that because I had an idea that we were going to use the UDP for confirmation, but I think we'll not bother. We'll just accept the incoming file transfer for now anyway. Alright, okay, so to send that back, we need to send that back to the sender. So that's going to be the broadcaster. So we're going to say var broadcaster equals sender as broadcaster. And then we want to send a message back to the broadcast to the client that sent that to say I'm also on the network. So I want to do broadcaster dot acknowledge, which we don't have just yet, but we are gonna have in just a sec. And then the acknowledges, we want to add that to the list. So we'll leave that for just a sec. So back inside our broadcaster, I'm going to add a public void acknowledge, and then we're going to pass in a UDP, sorry, not a UDP client, a sender IP endpoint, which is going to be the client. And then we're going to send that back to them. So we're going to say client dot begin set. Why is that not working? Oh, right, okay. Client dot begin send, and then we want to specify the datagram. And then so that's going to be message dot length, and then it is oh wait, hang on a minute. No, I need to create another UDP client for this. So I need to say var sender equals new UDP client, and then the port, which is going to be port sender dot send begin send, and then it's going to be am I missing something? No, it is that one. What am I doing? Okay, it's this again. That's all I need to do is just send this. But I need to send the receive string. So the receive string is one of these. So it's an acknowledgement. So I need to send back acknowledge. Okay. So it's just going to be ack encoding ASCII.get bytes ack. And then it's going to be 3, and then I'm going to specify the endpoint, which is this. And I could probably fit that all in one line. And that's it. That's all we need to do for that. Instead of ack though, I think we should use the ack there. And then we should do ack.length. just to be on the safe side, because if we change the message, then maybe we run into problems. At least this way, if we change the length of that, we're not going to run into any problems. Okay, so that's that done. And then on the main file here, we have our list box. So I'm going to call this nodes. Let's call it nodes. So I'm going to click on this, and then I'm going to change the name of it, which is currently listbox, to lst nodes. And then inside here, I'm going to do lst nodes dot items dot add e dot client dot toString. Well, actually, I think you can specify the data item. Dot member, display member. Let's just do that as e.client and leave it at that, because I think if you just add the object, it does the toString anyway, although you can specify the actual name itself. I think that'll be fine. So we run this now, shouldn't run into any problems. It's going to ask us again because this is it. This is the first time we're running this application. So we click on allow access, and it's it's brought back us. So we want to prevent that. That's good though. At least we know it's working. So if I run this, you'll see that I run this and it says it's acknowledging this here, and so this is going to then acknowledge it, and then it's going to add that to there. So at least it's working. However, we don't want it to do that, so I'm going to flip this around and hopefully that'll stop this from happening. Although I know fine well it wasn't going to work that way, because these things are buffered. So when this gets created, this broadcaster gets created, it's just going to sit in the buffer and wait for it. So we're going to have to ignore it somehow. But for now, we're just going to leave it as is. At least we know it's working, and that's good enough for me just now. Oops, I've lost everything. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to be able to send a file across to the other machine. So the way we do that is we will we'll wait for a right click and then we'll give it a context menu. So if we go to here, we can add a context menu. Context menu strip. So that's that there. Click on context menu strip, and then we can do send file. And context menu strip is going to be CMU. What are we going to call it? Node actions. Sounds good. And then this one here is going to be MNU send file, and that is going to have a click event associated with it. So MNU click file is going to have associated menu click with it. And we're going to have lst nodes dot context menu equals cn menu node actions. Dot items 0. What's items? toStrip menu item collection. Context menu. do the wrong thing? What maybe I did? Oh, context menu strip. Delete. Let me look it up. Context menu informs context menu strip. Okay, let's see what this says. Context menu strip replaces context menus. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so how do you set it to be that? Context menus assigned to control context menu text preference over context menu strip. So context menu equals context menu strip. So I guess context menu strip doesn't extend from context menu. Drop down menu. Well, that's not good. So how do you assign it to that then? Well, that's rather annoying, isn't it? Context menu overview. When forms context menu strip context confusion. Context menu strip. Did I just set that directly then? Can I do that? Maybe I can. Why didn't I check it first? Context menu strip. Oh, there you go. Well, that was that. That was easy. Okay, so we've run this now. I can right click that and then click on send file, which is awesome. So send file. And then I want to say, just to be sure, if list nodes dot selected item equals null, message box, please select an item, else we want to do var open file dialog equals new file open file dialog. If ofd dot show dialog equals okay, we want to transfer the file across, then that's really what we're doing here. So we want to say var transfer equals new transfer file, and then the file name is going to be ofd.filename. The host name is going to be the client that we click on, so that is we need to get that out of here. So we need to do var client equals list nodes dot selected item as IP endpoint, and then host name equals client dot address dot toString. So then we're going to do host name, and then the port, which is going to be the port, transfer complete plus equals transfer complete. object sender event args e. Okay. And then we're going to do transfer dot start. And should we should probably fix that, shouldn't we? So the sender is going to be the transfer file. So start, and then do we need it? No, I don't think we do. Okay, I think we can just get rid of that. So we can say message box show transfer complete. So just to let people know that it is still working and that the file has been transferred across. Okay, so let's test what we have so far. So I'm going to do that here, right click, send file, selected item is null, so please select an item should pop up, and it does. So if I select that and then I do send file, we should get the dialog here. So I'm going to choose repos, project, network send tool, readme.txt or readme.md, and then the client is this here, the host name is that, and we're going to be sending it to here. Now here is actually, if I go to where are we? Open folder and file location, bin, debug. Okay. So this is actually probably going to transfer this file across. So it's taking it from one location on my disk, transferring it across the network and plopping it down. I'm hoping in this folder here. So I'm going to hit transfer complete here and then hit F5. And that does not like it because it's trying to connect to the same, it's trying to connect to the same machine, so it's not going to like it. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to do what I did before, which is I'm going to copy it across to, I'm going to use GitHub to transfer this across to my other machine. I'm going to then compile it on that machine and then run it there and then do the transfer. Let's see how this works out. So I'm going to do my git fetch and git pull, and that's going to grab all those things there, and then I'm going to go back to my app. I'm going to do reload, and that should reload everything there. I'm going to set that as my startup project, and I'm going to save it, and then I'm going to run it, and this will run the file here once it compiles it. Okay, it's running it. So yeah, I want to allow access. Okay. It takes a bit of time in this machine here. Okay, so this one here, the 187, is my machine here, and I've noticed that when I run it on here, you can see that this hasn't changed. So this should have actually added the other machine there. So we can debug that in just a sec. I just want to make sure that we can transfer files across. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer files, and because this is I think it's in this folder, it will dump it in here because this is the working folder. If not, it might dump it further up in what would it be, inside here maybe, but I've got a funny feeling I think it's inside the working folder's debug. So I'm going to send a file across, so I'm going to do send file, and I'm going to choose repositories, GitHub repos, network send tool, and I'm going to send the readme file across again, and then I'm going to click on open, and it should transfer the file. Well, this one here seems to have crashed, and this one here seems to be okay. So, well, there you go. it didn't like it. So it's trying to connect to 127 and then port 54,000, and it didn't like it because there's nothing listening on it. That's why. Ah, ha 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 ha. Okay, so let's stop that. Let's stop on here, and then we'll debug a little bit more, or we'll code a little bit more, I should say. Okay, so the problem is that it's not waiting for something. So what I think we need to do is we need to send a message to it to say get into the ready state. And the way we can do that is we can use the acknowledge or that other mechanism, the UDP one. So I'm gonna use that. I know I said I wasn't gonna, but I'm gonna. So if we go to broadcaster, we've got our acknowledge, and then we have our confirm. So we're just going to send a confirm message to say, hey, we're initiating a transfer. So I'm going to say public void initiating transfer IP endpoint client. And it's going to be exactly the same as this, except it's going to be instead of con, I'm going to change that to any, because it's short for initiate, and I quite like the fact it's lowercase, or it's uppercase like that. So, and then we're going to change that from confirm to initiate. And that's going to cause problems for us inside our main form, because we've got this here, so which is going to be initiate. And initiate is going to wait for the file. So we're going to do var receiver equals new, what do we call it? Receive file. Port is going to be 54,000. Receiver dot transfer complete plus equals. We can just call it transfer complete because it's going to use the same one. It doesn't really matter because it only just spits out a message. And then we're going to do receiver dot listen. Actually, file received complete. I want to have it slightly different because I want to stop listening. So I'm going to have private void object sender event args e, and then we're going to say var receive file equals sender as receive file. So once it's finished receiving the file, I want to kill it. So I want to do receive file dot stop. And we don't have a stop on receive file, but we will in just a second. So inside there we get start, listen, blah 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 blah. So now we're going to have public void stop listener dot do I not have a stop here? Oh, listener dot stop listener equals null. Listener dot, can I do cancel now? Okay, that's fine. And that will kill everything in there. So we're going to stop it. We're going to set it to null once it's completed, and then we'll show that message again there. So we'll do that there. And then when we send the file across, before we do that, we want to we want to make sure that people know that we're sending it. So we need to do broadcaster dot transfer, initiating transfer, and then the client is going to be client. So we need to have that under here. Oh, darn it. So we need to initiate transfer and then transfer the file across. Okay. And then what have we missed? What have we missed? So broadcaster, say hello, listen, message received, and then when we do the initiate, we do that. If we go to main form, no, if we go to broadcaster, acknowledge, initiate, transfer. Oh, there you go. See, acknowledge, and then we want to change that to any. And then this is going to be any.length as well, because we're initiating that, and then we do initiate. And okay, feeling confident. I am going to do that there. And then I'm going to do get status, make sure I'm not getting anything there. Do get add star.cs. Git commit -m using UDP to indicate that using UDP to indicate that a transfer is incoming. Okay, so that's that done. Now I need to go over to the other computer and do the same thing. Well, I don't need to do the same thing, I just need to go and get the git, pull from git. So on the monitor that's hiding me, I'm going to press start in a second, but I'm going to start this one first. So I now have this one here. I've got over here, up the top here is the what have we got up here? We've got the directory of this running program, which will receive the file. I'm very confident to receive the file. Now over here in this other computer, so down in the bottom here, I'm starting it just now, so you can see it just starting. I didn't like that. Okay, I can fix that. That's okay, I can fix that. What I can do is I can do begin invoke, and then all of this I'll just put in here for now. And I'll do the same. I'll make sure I do the same thing over here. I could do it in one. Oh, how did I do this again? I think I need to do this as an action. I think you need to cast it as an action. It's a bit of a faff. I think that works, yeah. Okay, so let me try that again. I'll make sure to do the same thing in the other side there. Okay, so here we go. So our 187 that we have here, 187 is our other machine. So if I do send file, and I'm going to specify the readme file, and we transfer it. Transfer complete. Readme is over here. The system works. It's all good. The crowd goes wild. File transfer is complete. So if I double click the readme file, it should open up inside here, and it should say exactly that, which is what the readme file says. Okay, that is all I'm doing for. We're going to end on a high there. I think that's all we're going to do just now. I'm going to add that begin in here. So I'm going to do that just now before I forget. So if I go up to here, so this is because your cross-thread operations, it's happening on a cross-thread operation when it adds to the client here. So all I need to do is invoke, which is a method on the WinForm, and then I'm going to call everything inside here in action, and put that there, and then it is that. Oh no, wait a minute, what am I doing here? Yeah, it's all of this inside that. Oh, that's right, yeah. What am I doing here? There we go. Okay, that's that there. And that's what I did on the other monitor that you saw. So that is it. That is what we have so far. I'm going to end this video on this high, and then what we're going to do in the next video is tidy up the GUI a little bit, tidy everything up that we need to do, make it presentable, and yeah, that should be pretty much it. I don't think there's much else we can do. We can sort of tidy up a little bit more by swapping out some of the user experience parts of it. So, or not the user experience parts, I'm giddy now. It's the UI, so that instead of having just those one lines, oh yeah, we need to fix the one as well because it's reporting the same machine as well, and it's also not reporting the broadcast when you join, so we need to fix that as well. So there's a few bits and pieces we need to tie up in the next video, but yeah, that's it for this one. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. It's part of a series of videos where I create a simple file transfer application for the Windows operating system, so Windows 10, so on. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share. It really, really does help the channel. And if you want timely reminders of when another part of this series, or anytime I post up a video up, then please hit the subscribe button and notification bell, and YouTube will work its magic and give you a notification when one of those videos goes up. But yeah, thank you so much again for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye bye.